recruiting module. Okay. So what kind of third-party integrations are we talking about? We'll just see that in a minute. So, some of the third parties involved in the recruiting process are like, the third party vendors for assessments, background checks, and even the resume passing, job posting to the external career sites, job portal sites. So there are a lot of third party vendors there. Okay. So in order to see who are the different third party vendors, who can be integrated with the recruiting module, we can able to see that by going to this Oracle Cloud Marketplace. Okay. So once you go to this Oracle Cloud Marketplace, here you will see products. So once you click on products, you will go to application, which is SaaS. Right? So as we know, Oracle Fusion is a SaaS product. And then here, once you go to SaaS product, you will see talent management. Just give me 1 second. Let me just check. Yeah. So we'll go to Oracle Talent Acquisition. They just renamed it from Talent Management to Talent Acquisition. Okay. Once we go to this Talent Acquisition, okay, here in the products, you can just choose, the Oracle Recruiting Cloud ORC. And once you choose ORC, you will see all the vendors, who can be directly, integrated with the ORC module. So who are these vendors? We have some vendors, who can provide, assessment support. Like, for example, if I just in the category, if I choose assessment, these are the vendors who can be integrated for the assessment process. So as part of the job applications, right, either before the interviews or after the interviews, some customers they would like to go with an assessment partners. So they want to take an assessment for the candidates. Right? In such case, then we use this third-party vendors to do support on the assessment parts. So we have different categories here. We have third-party vendors for assessment, background checks, and then I-9 processing. This is mostly used only for the US customers, right? So whenever they wanted to hire a US citizen, so whenever they wanted to hire someone for the full-time positions, they wanted to do I-9 processing, which is basically like credit checks and things like that, right? So that we use this particular I-9, this particular vendor hire it. And then similarly, we have job posting. So job posting, we see we have so many vendors here. Okay. So now that we talk about job posting, we see we people normally customers ask like Harish, we whenever we post the requisition and whenever we post the requisition comes to the internal career site and the external career site. Then why do we need third party vendor for job posting? These are basically these vendors. What they do is any requisition which is posted, they take those requisitions and post it on the job portals. For example, if the customers have a job posting license in let's say Naukri, for example, then you can use any one of this vendor to automatically post your open requisitions in the Naukri. So that's the purpose of this particular job postings. And then similarly, you will have tax credits, screening, and then video solution, W4 forms. So you will see a lot of different vendors. Okay? But very commonly used vendors are like your background check, assessment, I-9 processing, job posting. These four are the very commonly used vendors for the by the customers. Okay? So, and let's say whenever you wanted to implement, or enable integration with any of these vendors, right? What they do is like, they have to first reach out to the partners. Okay. Let's say, for example, let's take telemetry resume passing. Okay? If I just go inside this, we can see all the details about this vendor. Okay? So the customers have to reach out to this, vendor. They have to procure the license. And once they procure the license, then what happens is we will get an, a document from the vendor. For example, if it is telemetry, we get an a user guide from telemetry on how to enable the integrations. Okay? So each and every vendor will have their own way of enabling the integrations. So once we procure the license with each vendor, we get an user guide from the vendor with step-by-step instructions and screenshots on how to enable the integration. For example, this is an user guide for the ORC telemetry. So we get an a user guide like this. It will where they will mention all the details, okay, about the telemetry setups and then what all the setups has to be done in the recruiting cloud. So here they ask us to go to configuration package and then we have to import and package here. So if I just show you, right? So once the customer procures the license from the customer, the vendor, right? They get an a document like this, okay? And then they get an package, telemetry, the vendor package, right? It will be in zip file. So what we have to do in the zip file, we have to import the zip file in the configuration package area. Okay? So we'll see, those things as well. And basically, the user get contains all the informations. So let us quickly, see how to, uh, enable how to import this configuration package. So in order to import a configuration package, we'll go to setup and maintenance. And then here, once we click on the task here, right, you will see something called as, a manage configuration packaging. This is the task. So what you have to do is we'll go to the task, we'll click on X upload. And then what we have to do is we have to click on the choose file. Once we click on the choose file, so once you choose this file, right, you have to click on upload. Once you click on upload, the file gets uploaded here and we have to click on get details. What does this get details do? This get details basically reads the configuration package and make sure the file is not broken. And then it will read all the details. And once you get to see all these details, you can just click on the submit button. And you just get a small warning message. Just click on yes. Once you click on yes button, then the file gets uploaded. So the configuration file gets uploaded here. Okay. So once it is uploaded, so this is the package which we have just uploaded. Okay. And then once you see this upload is completed successfully, then what we have to do is we have to import the setup data. Okay. So we have to just click on import setup data, and then you will get to see all those details. Just click on next. We don't need to make any changes here because these are all already configured by the vendors. So all we have to do is just click on submit so that this setup data would be imported. So we can just click on the refresh button to see the status of it. So all the steps will also be in the document. So normally the import, it doesn't take much time, but based on the details, it takes based on the size of the file, right? And it may take some time. Just like yeah. So once it is completed, you will see this completed successfully. So now that we have just enabled an integration with telemetry. So is this process completed? No, this process is not completed. We have just completed only one part of the integration with third-party vendor. So what is the next step? The next step is, we have to enable, the setups, right? So now that, we have just enabled the configuration package, the next thing what we have to do is, we have to go to recruiting and candidate experience, and then you see recruiting category provisioning and configuration. If you remember, we talked about this task at the beginning of our training sessions. This is the place where we can configure the third-party setups. So once we go here, you will see all these partners. Let's say if you have imported an assessment package, then you will see the assessment partner here. If background checks, job distributions, profile imports, everything. For profile import, we can just click on the pencil icon. Okay? And once we go here, you see this telemetry here. Hmm. So currently these are like, the other vendors which we have enabled for resume parsing, but for telemetry, this is, we see a line here. So what you have to do is we have to enter the reference key, client ID, client secret, and the languages. Okay. So where do we get this informations? These are some informations, which we will not see in the document. These are some informations which we will be getting it from the vendor. So the vendor has to, the vendor or vendors, they will be sharing us all these details. And what we have to do is we have to just come and, enter those details. And then if you have multiple vendors for the same activity, then you can choose which one you want to active at the same time. So similarly, you will have, other vendors. So, if you, for example, if you take assessment, these are the different vendors. So if you once you import configuration package of any of these vendors, you will see those vendor names under the, the configuration package. You will see them under the assessment section. So this is how, we can enable integrations with the third-party vendors. Now, the next question comes up here is, from the customers or with the interviews. Let's say I have a vendor, okay? And then if that vendor is not part of, the opportunity marketplace, the Oracle opportunity marketplace, then what will happen? So if a vendor is not part of this, the Oracle Cloud Marketplace, then, we cannot enable and, a standard integrations with them. We can enable and custom integrations, but for that, the vendor has to be technically skilled in order to create a configuration package, because this configuration package is something, which the vendors has to create it. Okay? And for some, for certain categories, we can, how we can create some workarounds. Okay. For example, like, when it comes to background check, if the background check partner is not part of the marketplace, okay, then, we can still create some kind of, workarounds using, some outbound extracts and inbound extracts. We can able to integrate, we can able to create some kind of connections with the third party vendor. If at least if the third party vendor supports, like, if the third party vendor supports REST services, then we can create some REST packages to, enable some kind of integrations. But if they don't do that, then, then we have no other options apart from manually triggering the background checks and collecting the feedbacks. If we use any one of this vendor from the marketplace, then, the background checks, everything can be automatically triggered. But if the vendor is outside the marketplace, then it has to be a manual one. So this is about the cloud marketplace with third-party vendors. So what I'll do is let me just quickly put the message, the link here in the chat. You can just bookmark this link so that, it would be easier for your future references. So this is all about, the third-party integration. So the third-party integrations, as I said, we don't have much of, work to do. We don't need to do any separate setups and all. All we have to do is just follow the, instructions which we get from the customer, the vendors, user manuals. Okay. So any doubts or questions on the third-party marketplace, third-party integrations? No.
No worry.
Right. Thanks, sir. So next we'll see, like, enable integrations with, LinkedIn and, see the setup partner enablement. We already saw that. So we have this two very commonly used functionality, which is like, apply with LinkedIn, apply with LinkedIn. If you see most of the career sites, I just see, let me just quickly check. GP. Okay. Okay. So most of the customers, right, you will see these two options in the career sites. Okay. One is like, apply with LinkedIn, apply with Indeed. This resume, what we see here, right, is this is the resume passing. So if I just upload some resume, let me just quickly upload a sample resume. So the moment I upload a resume, this resume parsing vendors, right? What they do is they will read the resume and then they will pull out all the resume informations and it will be captured here. This resume did not read properly. Let me just try to import another profile. I think there's some issue with the integration with the resume parsing. So the resume parsing basically reads all the details in the resume, and then the details will be automatically populated in the respective fields. Okay. Apart from that's about resume parsing. Apart from that, we have something called as apply with LinkedIn and apply with Indeed. So what happens is when you click on apply with LinkedIn, system automatically opens and pop up. So the system immediately opens and pop up, okay, which says like, welcome back. And the system, we have to just log in into our LinkedIn profile. Once we log in into our LinkedIn profile, then all our information from the LinkedIn profile would be automatically populated here. Not just like, the name, email IDs, phone number, like, if we are capturing the experiences, education, certifications, all those informations would be automatically populated here. So that's the purpose of the apply with LinkedIn and apply with Indeed. Mhm.
So, Harish, are these two options are seeded one? Is
See
applying
this,
thing?
yeah.
Mhm.
So this apply with LinkedIn and apply with Indeed, these are seeded functionalities. Okay, but we have to enable it, explicitly for each and every customer. So how to enable it? Again, we have to go to profile import partners, and then you will see here LinkedIn. And then if I just go up, you will see this Indeed. So what we have to do is let's say, for example, you wanted to enable an integration with Indeed. Okay. So you have to get the client ID and the client secret ID. So these are basically, if I just go to, I don't have an account with Indeed. So once we log in into Indeed account, right, we will see an option where we can, get the client ID and the client secret ID. So once we get this from the Indeed account, or we can normally we ask the customers to share us this information. So once we enter the client ID and client secret, we can just select this active checkbox so that apply with Indeed would be enabled. Okay. And then when it comes to LinkedIn, it requires some additional setups. So what we have to do is we have to first give a name, application name. Okay, so we can just put some name here, and then we have to update the integration. What do we mean by update integration? Once we click on this update integration button, so once we click on this update integration button, a LinkedIn pop-up window opens up where we need to enter the LinkedIn username and password. Okay. So should we use our LinkedIn username and password? No. In order to enable an integration with, apply with LinkedIn, the customers needs to have LinkedIn premium account. They need to have a LinkedIn premium account. Once they have a LinkedIn premium account, once they click on update integration, system will ask them to, enter the username and password. Okay. Once they enter the username and password, the integration gets enabled and these informations will be automatically populated. So in this case, right, what happens is, let's say the in the customer side, the LinkedIn, owner might be, someone who is a recruiter. So recruiters, they don't have access to this particular screens. So how do we do it is like, we will, go to the screen, we'll share, our screens, and then we'll ask the recruiter to enter the username and password, because we cannot ask the username and password to, to the customers, because that will be a conflict of interest. Yeah, it's a breach to the security, right? Hence, we cannot ask them the username password. We can just tell them that, we'll do a screen sharing, and then the customers can enter the username and password. Once you enter the username and password, the client ID and the client secret gets added automatically from the LinkedIn. You don't need to do anything. And then once this is successful, then what we have to do is we have to scroll down, and then, you see this LinkedIn profile import, right? You have to just activate this. Once you active this, and then you will see the second option, which is apply with LinkedIn. So once this is enabled successfully, then you can just select this active checkbox so that this apply with LinkedIn button gets enabled in our career sites as well. This is how we can enable an integration with, how this is the steps we need to follow in order to enable apply with LinkedIn and apply with LinkedIn. So apart from these two, there is one more functionality here, which is, enabling and connection with the LinkedIn Recruiter System Connect. In short, we call it as, LinkedIn RSC, Recruiter System Connect. Have you ever heard of this, the LinkedIn Recruiter System Connect, Rizwana?
No, Harish.
Okay, so this is again an, a premium license from LinkedIn. Okay? So the LinkedIn Recruiter System Connect, it is nothing but it is another ATS, applicant tracking system in LinkedIn, where the recruiters can create projects, just like how we create requisitions here. They can create projects in the LinkedIn. Okay, and then just like how we add candidates here, they can add people, people from LinkedIn profile into the projects, and then how we send communications from ORC. Similarly, they can in LinkedIn they can send emails. So it's basically it's an another tracking system, but why do we need to enable an integration between LinkedIn recruiter system and ORC? Is like, let's say, for example, you create a requisition. hmm, A project would be automatically created in the recruiter's LinkedIn recruiter account. So in LinkedIn, let's say you add a candidate to one of the project. Okay. And then what happens is LinkedIn immediately sends that information to the WhatsApp module, telling that, this particular recruiter have added a candidate, to this particular project. Okay. And then LinkedIn will send those candidate informations. And then WhatsApp module will check if this candidate has applied, it's there in the database or not. If the candidate is there in the database, then what WhatsApp module does. WARC will automatically add that candidate as a prospect to that requisition. And then let's say if we send some communication to the candidate from LinkedIn, okay, that communication would be automatically added to the interactions here in the WARC module. So that kind of sync up will happen between the LinkedIn recruiter account and the WARC module. Okay? And in order to enable this integration, the customers needs to have the LinkedIn premium recruiter accounts. Until and unless if the customers they don't have the LinkedIn premium accounts, then we cannot enable this integration. This is first important point which we need to be aware about. And the second most important point which we need to be aware about this LinkedIn Recruiter System Connect is that this functionality works only in production. And this functionality does not work on dev instance or test instance. Okay? It works only in production. The reason being that in LinkedIn they don't have something called as test instance. Okay? So what we do is we just enable this functionality in the production, and then we will not enable this functionality to all the recruiters. We'll just enable this functionality to only one recruiter. We'll first give a demo to the recruiter, do all kind of testings and everything, and then once the recruiters are okay with it, then we create, we enable this for all the recruiters. Okay? These are the two important things which we need to be aware about, the LinkedIn Recruiter System Connect integration. Any doubts or questions, Rizwana, so far?
Yeah, Harish. As we have two options here, LinkedIn and Indeed. If we wanted to add some third option like Naukri, then what would be the process?
We don't have that functionality. Only option is like, uh, candidates can apply from their LinkedIn or their Indeed accounts. Naukri is not an option so far.
Okay.
But
Okay.
why do you need Naukri?
Like we have two options. Now most of the candidates comes from Naukri as well. So we should have three options I'm thinking of.
See, but in Naukri, right, it is just an, a job portal, right? It's not something a professional forum. Yeah, and also in Naukri, the candidates will have very basic information, and most of the information would be in the attachments.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just, even if we, if Oracle wants to enable it, right? See, the thing is, I don't know, if the moment you start adding, see, these are the responses which we normally give to the customers. Yeah, I'm giving it same to you. Okay, because we need to convince, we need to make the customers aware that, why this functionality will never be available. Okay? See,
Mm-hmm.
Naukri is one portal. Okay? Just like Naukri, we have thousands of portals. So we cannot, see if Oracle enables Naukri, then tomorrow customers will come and say, they need another portal. So some customers, they come and say, see, Naukri is very famous in India and in Gulf countries. Okay, but very common across the globe is like, we have something called as monster.com. And then we
Yes.
have Dice. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then we have huge number of career builder is there. There are tons and tons of job portals, right? So those are like all job portals. So we cannot create and we cannot enable integrations with those things. But when you create a requisition, you can create an integration to post it to those particular job portals.
Yeah,
Through
yeah.
this job distributions, you can post it there. Importing the candidate profile from there, that is not possible.
Okay, Harish.
So this is all about apply with LinkedIn and apply with LinkedIn. See, these are like small topics, very very small topics. The reason why we are covering it is just to make sure you guys are aware about these topics. Okay, and integration with third parties, like just go through those the marketplace URL and see like for each category of category who are the different partners. The reason why I'm stressing this out is like when you go for your interviews, they immediately ask like have you worked on have you worked with any third party integrations. If you are very confident, then you can say yes, I've worked with few third party configurations. Okay, or if you say no, I have not worked with any integrations, but I know couple of partners who for each category, then immediately they ask like give me some names of the partners. Or let's say you're doing your implementation project, suddenly customer comes up and ask like, Harish, give me some, partner names for, assessment. Then, if you have some names handy, that will always be helpful. Yes. Okay. So, if it's always better to have some names handy so that, if in case if you go for your interviews or if it is, your discussion with the customer, it would be easy for you to, respond back to them. Hmm? So this is
Yeah.
all about, yeah, Rizwana.
Yeah, thanks for all the tips and all. That will really help to crack the interviews.
Yes, yes. See, because see, we have been doing this training sessions on, not only for ORC, right, all the modules for very long time. And then we also seen like, people coming back to us and telling that, Harish, like we attended this interview and this was the feedback, this was the kind of question. So we also gather informations
Mm-hmm.
so that it would be easy for us to pass it on to the the next set of people. So each and every for example, right, let's say you are attending an interview, you went for the interview and then you come back to us and you say, Harish, these are the interview questions which we have received. And then most importantly, right, we are also in the same domain. I myself is an interviewer for my organization. Okay? So we know like how what kind of trends the questions which comes up in the interview. So we just try to pass on the information so that you guys are well prepared on it.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Thanks.
Yeah. So this is all about, the apply with LinkedIn and apply with Indeed. And the reason why we did not see much about, the integration with LinkedIn Recruiter System Connect is that we need an, active license LinkedIn account with, active license on LinkedIn Recruiter, a premium one, and then we need to have only the production instance. We cannot do it in the dev or test instance, or especially in the demo instance, we cannot able to do it. Hence, we are not seeing that in detail. But you see tons and tons of documents, in the support portals. So
Okay,
this is all about
third party
the
integration.
third-party integrations.